All right, this is my daily update for my build and public log. It's April 10th, 2025. This is going to be a quick one. Don't have a lot to share yet. Right now, I've shifted my focus back to working on the docs for agents code. So I want people to sign up. You get free credits. I know there's only 2 agents for now, but I want people to try it out if there's interest in one of these agents. Um, but there's no documentation. No one knows how to use the thing. I don't think it's very clear at all. The landing page isn't clear. The lack of documentation. So I'm trying to get that done just so people can see, oh, okay, let me actually try this thing out. I was looking at a cool product. I didn't know about this until today. Pretty promising. It's a service where they like make the API documentation for you, but they like make an interactive one. So if you can see by the example, so right in the documentation, this is kind of what I was going for. When if you've ever tried an API, especially from like a really good service like Stripe or something like that, you know how sometimes it has the like request thing built right in, so you can put in your API key or the best documentation, which I'm gonna do for mine. If you're signed in and it knows your session, you're on the same site or domain that you're logged in, it will even put your API key like right in there, and you could just hit go right from the browser and start making requests. This looks promising. They actually have a few features that I want to use, but it says coming, and I'm like, oh, come on. I don't know. I'm gonna. I think I might give this a try. The idea is like you can like give it your code, like for example, Hono or Fast API or something, and it will just like make the documentation for you based on like Swagger or something. Very interesting. And what really caught my eye for this, but it says coming. It's not done yet. Is it will make the SDK for you. That's cool. I would really like that because making the SDK is one thing I really need to do. Um, I don't know. We'll see. So that's what I'm doing. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have something. If not tomorrow, then Saturday I will have a documentation page so you can actually go try out agents. Um, that's it. That's all right. Let's move on to questions and comments. No questions or comments today. Fair enough. Um, so I was talking to somebody about earlier about the 2000s and how I've had an Amazon account since 2005, which is pretty crazy. I had an eBay account since the 90s when I was I was like a kid and I ordered stuff on eBay. And we were talking about eBay, and it's funny how eBay just died. You know what I mean? Like it's still around, but it really should have been the Amazon. And they started to do what Amazon does now, but they did it like in a weird, messy way. And Amazon kind of saw, let's do that like a better, smart way. And I don't know, the last I had to order something on eBay like I don't know, like a couple years ago to find some battery for like an old Kindle, something random. Amazon knew, but eBay had a bunch of them. So, yeah, we were talking about eBay and how that was like the hot tech company in the mid 2000s. And my very first job in tech was working at a company that eBay hired. So I kind of like almost in a way, nah, I was almost like a contractor for eBay kind of thing. eBay had millions and millions of users, and they were obsessed with like, most big companies are market research. So I worked at a market research company, and eBay was like the one big, really big customer. And my job, this was my first job. Like I was in college, I dropped out of college to work at the software company, and I was like given here's like millions of customers for eBay. Go send them emails to take surveys. That's how I started becoming. That's how I became a software engineer. Now, this wasn't like do whatever you want. It was like, okay, for this survey, send this group. uh, of customers' emails. Okay, for this one, do this, and I would have to like schedule these email sends and do everything by hand. The email was hand coded, by me with HTML, and there was I mean, there's just millions and millions of people. I've sent I back in the day, of course, I sent myself an email. Hey, take this survey, and I was like, oh, I sent this. Um, it was cool, but the thing is like managing all that data was hell. So I was like, I am so lazy. I need a way to just like do this faster. So I asked like the CTO or whatever his title was at the company, hey, how can I automate this? Oh, do this. Hey, how can I automate this? And I just kept going to him. He's like, you got to just figure this stuff out. Like, start figuring it out on your own. And I started with like command. Everything was in the terminal in the Linux command line. And so I would do like one-liners to help me do some tasks. And then I started writing scripts. Then I started writing more scripts, and I had this thing crazy automated. And uh, that passion to automate these like really mundane manual tasks really got me excited. I like that way more than the surveys that I had to make, because that was my job. Was I had to like program these surveys with like logic. You know what I mean? You coded it with logic, and I loved doing the like automation part more than my actual job. And so I wrote this crazy script in Bash. I mean, like hundreds of lines or something that took a really like manual process, like that would take like an hour, and it automated it into like 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. And I showed the CEO of the company, and he looked at me and goes, do you like making the surveys? And I said, nope. I do not. I prefer automating things. And he said, okay, you're gonna be a software engineer. We're gonna put you on the software engineering team. You're just gonna learn as you go. And it's funny, I think that's why I have a passion for the AI agent stuff, because literally my career almost 20 years ago, it's been over 18 years. It's now been 18 plus years. That was like my first love, was like automating and making it automatic. Uh that's why I'm like really into the agent thing, because this is how I started my career. I've always, for almost 20 years, been excited about this. And it all started with all the eBay data, all the eBay customers I had to email, because it was so much work. It was like so much. Everything was done by hand, everything was manual, everything was prone to error. And the other thing was, it was so error prone because I'd fuck up all the time. And writing the like really carefully sitting down and writing an automation and having it like systematically done, it led to a reduction of errors. And they were happy because they're like, hey, you're not messing up as much as when you messed up with them. It was a big deal. This was the big important customer. So it's kind of funny. I kind of owe my career in a huge part to eBay and all the data. And they were such a big deal in the 2000s. And by this time, this was the mid to late. This was getting towards the late 2000s. They were still really big. They were like the Amazon of the day. Yeah, good old eBay. And I feel bad. I never buy anything on eBay, but I don't know. Anyways, that's all I got for today. See you tomorrow.